Hello and welcome back to the channel, and the Frog Monger has arrived. This is one of the latest Masters of the Universe Origins figures to be released exclusively through the Mattel Creations website. Frog Monger is the dungeon dweller of Castle Grayskull, and he's a brand new character in the Masters of the Universe mythology. The back of Frog Monger's card features a beautiful piece of artwork depicting not only the Frog Monger, but several other creatures that lurk in the dungeon of Castle Grayskull. Frog Monger comes with an original mini-comic, Horde of the Frog Monger. And looking through this, we can see that the Frog Monger was once human. He was a sorcerer prince who played both sides during the war with the Snake Men. He was then cursed and cast out and turned into his frog form, where he inhabits the dungeon of Castle Grayskull, sitting on a hoard of treasure. So a little bit of the Frog Prince and a little bit of Gollum from Lord of the Rings. Frog Monger is a nice bright froggy green color. He's got some yellow spots, and his eyes, teeth, and belt all yellow, and some purple trunks. As we know, purple, yellow, and green are all complementary colors. A lot of different characters use that color scheme. He's got all the usual articulation of a MOTU Origins figure. He's got this interesting looking gun and has that rounded trident at the end. And he's also got this backpack, which most people are calling a jetpack, and putting some flame effects at the end. But I did not see him using this in the comic as a jetpack, so I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a jetpack or not. But the silver on the weapon and the backpack do complement the figure. Frog Monger is a very cool looking figure, and he's a nice addition to the Masters of the Universe canon. But how unusual is it to make a frog-themed action figure? Well, while we're here, let's take a look back at all the different frogs that have appeared in our favorite action figure lines throughout history. Our journey begins back in 1977 with a toy line called Staroid Raiders, made by Tomland. These were a group of alien figures with 5 points of articulation, and among them was the frog-like Zabu. I had many of the Staroid Raider figures, and they would often hang out in my Star Wars Cantina playset. Muppet mainstay Kermit the Frog was created by Jim Henson back in 1955. And to try and cover every different figure made of Kermit over the years would take more time than I have to devote to this video. So I'll just mention one, and that's one I had when I was a child, and that's the Fisher-Price Stick Puppet Kermit from 1978. The Kermit Stick Puppet was sold separately, and in a box set of Muppet Show players that also included Fozzie, Miss Piggy, and Rolf. In 1982, toy maker Arco created a line of toys called the Other World, which was informed by the explosion of fantasy toys at the time. Among the characters in the Other World was a little beast called Froggacuda, a frog-like character with a long tooth-filled snout. The original Arco Froggacuda was only about 4 inches tall, but here I have a modern interpretation by an independent toy maker called Last Resort Toys. They have taken that original Froggacuda design and upsized it to about 9 inches tall. He's got movable shoulders and wrists and hips. And as you can see, these weapons are glow-in-the-dark material. And I love the big red eyes on this guy. He's a great-looking monster figure. And he'd make a great adversary for He-Man or similar type fantasy figures. In 1984, LJN introduced their Advanced Dungeons & Dragons toy line, which included a wide variety of toys, including traditional action figures, bendable monsters, and PVC figures. Among the PVC figures were a set of 2 figures called the Bullywugs of the Bog, who were two frog-like warriors wielding primitive weapons. In 1987, Hasbro released a line of figures called Battle Beasts. These 2-inch-tall animal warriors were adapted from a Takara toy line called Beastformers, a line that had connections directly to the Transformers. The Battle Beasts had rub signs on their chests, which would reveal one of three symbols: fire, wood, or water. You could pit the beasts against each other and reveal their symbols, and it would play like the old rock, paper, scissors game. Fire beats wood, wood beats water, water beats fire. Among the battle beasts was this guy, named Horny Toad. You can make up your own joke for that. The rub symbol on this one is missing, as often happens with the loose vintage battle beasts. You'll often find the rub signs missing since they were only stickers that stuck to the armor. And he's also missing his axe. Each battle beast came with a unique melee weapon, and each battle beast was numbered, and the weapons are also numbered. So if you ever have a loose pile of battle beasts, just check the numbers on the figures and the weapons and you can match them up that way. And like classic battle beasts, he only has 2 points of articulation in the shoulders. In 2012, Takara updated their Beastformers figures with a line called Beast Saga. And among the Beast Saga figures was a frog character called Gwarl. While I don't have the frog, I do have several Beast Saga characters, so I can show you this one, the lion. And as you can see, the Beast Saga figures are a bit larger than the original battle beasts. They also have more articulation, with shoulders and legs this time. They also come with not only a melee weapon, but also a shield. And in place of the rock, paper, scissors stickers, they now have a dice gimmick that's part of the play feature that fits into their chests. And they have a little launcher on the back. So to play the game, you would launch the dice. And I'm not exactly sure how the game is played since I cannot read the Japanese instructions, but you get the idea. In 1987, the punk frogs were introduced into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles mythology. Created by Mutant Ooze in much the same way the Turtles were, 4 frogs were mutated into humanoid form. They were discovered by the evil Shredder and given the names of famous conquerors from history: Attila the Frog, Genghis Frog, Napoleon Bonafrog, and Rasputin the Mad Frog. Shredder initially tried to trick them into fighting on his side, but the frogs eventually went their own way and became allies of the Turtles. As part of their original Ninja Turtles line, Playmates released this figure of one of the punk frogs, Genghis Frog, and he originally came with a variety of accessories. He features the standard 5 POA of the original Playmates Ninja Turtles figures, arms, legs, and head, and he's sculpted in that sort of squat posed stance that all the original Playmates Turtles had. Playmates also released a figure of Napoleon Bonafrog in 1990, but that particular figure did not resemble the original show character design at all. When the Ninja Turtles were rebooted for Nickelodeon, Playmates released 2 new versions of the frogs in that toy line. 2012 brought us Napoleon Bonafrog, and 2015 saw Attila the Frog. In the past couple of years, NECA has introduced all the punk frogs into their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated line. So collectors can now get all 4 frogs based on their original animated appearance. In 1990, Hasbro released a toy line for Bucky O'Hare to tie in with the animated series. The villains in the Bucky O'Hare series were Toads, and Hasbro released several Toad figures and toys as part of that line, including the Toad Air Marshal, the Storm Toad Trooper, and the robotic Toad Borg. And there was also a specialized vehicle called the Toad Double Bubble. When Boss Fight updated the Bucky O'Hare series in 2017, They released a new version of the Storm Toad Trooper as part of that line. It retained the aesthetic of the original toy with added articulation. The Power Rangers toy line has featured a number of different Zords based on animals over the years, and Frogs are no exception. In 1995, Bandai's Ninja Megazord featured a Frog Zord piloted by the Black Ranger. This Frog Zord would form the torso and upper legs of the giant Ninja Megazord. In 1997, Toy Biz released the first frog-like figure for its popular X-Men line. And no, it wasn't the Toad, we'll get to him later. It was actually Amphibious, a mutant that was part of the Savage Land subseries. Amphibious was a very simple, water-squirting figure with only one point of articulation, and he was released in a 2-pack with Joseph, who was a version of Magneto. The Transformers line is no stranger to frogs, and in 1997 they released their first frog transformer in the form of Spitor, part of the Beast Wars line. Although Spitor was not a show character, when the Beast Wars line transitioned to the Transmetal era in 1999, Spitor was given a Transmetal upgrade. Takara in Japan recolored both of these Spitor molds for the Japanese market. The original Beast Wars Spitor was recolored and renamed Diver, and was released as part of the Beast Wars II toy line in 1998. Diver was packed in with one of the few playsets ever released for a Transformers line, the Niagara base. In the year 2000, Takara recolored the Transmetal version of Spitor as a character named Gosher for the Car Robots line. When Car Robots was adopted by Hasbro and renamed Robots in Disguise in 2001, Gosher was renamed Slapper and was one of the main characters in the Car Robots, Robots in Disguise anime series. One more frog of note in the Transformers mythology is Springload, a Decepticon released in the 2015 Robots in Disguise line. Springload appeared in the cartoon and had 2 toys released, a one-step changer and a Legion class figure. Now it's time to talk about the Toad, one of the mainstays in the Marvel X-Men franchise. An original member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, the Toad has seen various figures released of him over the years. The latest one is this Marvel Legends 20th anniversary figure, released in 2022, that I covered in a previous video. Previous versions of the Toad include a figure based on his appearance in the 2000 X-Men movie, where he was portrayed by Ray Park, an 8-inch scale Famous Covers box set, which included the movie version of the Toad as well as the classic comic book version, a figure of the Toad as he appeared in the 2001 animated series X-Men Evolution, the first Marvel Legends Toad, which was released inexplicably as part of the first wave of Marvel Legends in 2002. That wave included Iron Man, Captain America, the Hulk, and the Toad. And in 2008, the Toad was redesigned once again as part of the Wolverine and the X-Men line based on the animated series. In the Dragon Ball Z series, there is a giant frog-like creature called Yakon. Am I pronouncing that right? Yakon? I'm not a Dragon Ball Z fan. Anyway, there were 2 versions of this character released. The first was released by Irwin Toy in 2002, while the second was released by Jakks Pacific in 2007. 2011 saw the release of the much-maligned Green Lantern feature film starring Ryan Reynolds, which would probably have been the start of a DC feature film universe had it not flopped. One of the background lanterns in that film was a character called the Green Man. In the comics, the Green Man was part of an amphibious race of aliens, but when they redesigned him for the movie, they took that to the next step and turned him into a humanoid frog. 3 versions of the Green Man were released as part of the Green Lantern toy line. There was the Movie Masters version, a 6-inch scale figure which matched up nicely with the DC Universe Classics or Marvel Legends, an Action League version, which was Mattel's answer to Hasbro's Superhero Squad line, and this 4-inch version of the Green Man. And you can see they really went all out on making him a frog. redesigning basically the entire character. This was part of the mainline Green Lantern toy line that was released at the time, which was meant for kids. So it's a very simple 5 POA figure, arms, legs, and he's got a little waist movement. He came with this accessory, which you can put on his hand. It's sort of a green energy construct in the form of a gun. And he also came with a replica of a Green Lantern ring that you could roleplay with. In 2020, the independent toy line Alternation was released. And a while back, I covered one of the figures from that line called El Rey. Another character in that line is named Dart, a giant humanoid frog. Dart came with a variety of accessories and also featured a flipping action. 2021 saw the release of Frogman, aka Leapfrog, in the Marvel Legends line. He was released as part of the Stiltman Build-A-Figure wave. Frogman is one of the goofier villains, mostly going up against Spider-Man, so I'm not sure how many people were clamoring for a Marvel Legends Frogman figure, but apparently I was, because here he is. Frogman recently made his live-action debut in the Disney Plus She-Hulk series, and your mileage may vary as to whether you enjoyed that series or not. And the last stop in our Little Froggy retrospective is with the independent toy company Plastic Meatball, who acquired the license to make action figures for several Kellogg's cereal mascots. Among them was Diggum the Frog, the spokesman for Sugar Smacks. So I hope you enjoyed that froggy little action figure retrospective. This is not meant to be a comprehensive history of every single frog-based action figure, but I think I got most of them. If I left out one of your favorites, let me know in the comments. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.